Hey, I'm Miranda from Crisis of Infinite Opinions, and welcome back to the syllabus. This month we are discussing the art of the redemption arc, the face heel turn. The Too Long Don't Read is that every single co-host each chooses a book that best represents their arguments. I give them to you here now, you read them, digest them a little, and then hopefully when you're watching the main episode you can figure out just which one of us is lying. Let's get into it. Miranda chose Green Lantern 1 through 20. These stories are all about Sinestro, the Yellow Lantern, Mark Strong himself, and his attempts to atone. They explore what exactly made him the greatest of the Green Lanterns and why his fall from grace was inevitable. The arc seeks neither to condemn nor condone his actions, but rather to understand a complicated figure. You would be hard-pressed to call him a hero, but perhaps there is room for understanding. At the heart of the story is Hal Jordan, the friend who cannot let go. His presence reminds us that nothing is black and white, no one is alone, and his belief in Sinestro allows us, the audience, to, if not agree with him, then to give the character the grace necessary for a rehabilitative story. If Hal Jordan, a beloved hero, helps drive the redemption of Sinestro, then what about when the villain is right? There's an old Tumblr joke that characters like Venom and Harley Quinn become anti-heroes because of their personality, and characters like Magneto and Poison Ivy become anti-heroes because they were right. Knight's Choice, Poison Ivy, The Virtuous Cycle by J. Willow Wilson presents an interesting twist on the redemption arc. Having poisoned herself with fungus, she's traveling cross-country, spreading her spores. However, as she is pushing herself down the path of genocide, she is constantly coming into contact with people that are just doing their best in a system which exploits them as much as it exploits the environment. Her worldview is challenged and ultimately changed as she learns to reinvest in people, leaving ecofascism behind in favor of a more targeted form of eco-radicalism, focused on those most responsible for the destruction of the earth. It's a redemption arc that does not seek to redeem her in the eyes of the reader, but instead challenges the reader to engage with her worldview as it is changing. It redeems her position as the best and most prominent ecological comic book character by changing her worldview away from the extinctionist rhetoric it has been dancing along for the past 15 plus years. However, not every redemption arc happens front and center as the main plot line of a story. Sometimes it's a slow creeping thing that happens in the background over years. Honey chose Frenzy's arc from X-Men 248 through X-Men 253. The minor X-Men villain Frenzy debuted in the 80s as one of many villains for the X-Men to fight. A bruiser without a gimmick in an era marked by bruisers, she remained underdeveloped as an antagonist, best characterized as an angry woman who punches people who get in her way. Feeling the energy a little, not gonna lie. But in 2007, she made a brief return as part of the villain team, the Alkalites. There we would see the cracks start to form in Frenzy's identity as she butts heads with the team's leader. However, Frenzy is not a main character. Even among the Alkalites, she was but one of the louder voices out of an entire ensemble that stopped mattering as soon as the arc ended. In 2011, during the Age of X event, if you don't know, basically a bunch of characters get new backstories and personalities. Frenzy, seemingly by happenstance, ends up as the new wife of Cyclops. This ends as soon as the event itself does, and everyone tries to forget it. Well, everyone except for Frenzy herself, who she finds that she really likes who she was during the reality warping event. She goes on to try to be a hero full-time and to try to capture her not husband's eye. An ill-fated pastime, unfortunately, as she is not a telepath and can almost certainly do better. But it does kick off her actual redemption arc. She joins Rogue's X-Men team alongside Magneto, the man the Alkalites worship, and it is there that she is able to make a definitive statement as to her desires to forge her own path. She rejects everything she did and was in the past in favor of working towards her desired future. Marrying Scott Summers. R.I.P. But sometimes redemption arcs kind of suck. They fail to take accountability, they don't actually expand upon the character, and they fall into this trap of, blank is a sweet baby angel and can do no wrong, and you're the meanie and in the wrong for saying otherwise. And that's why I picked New 52's Red Hood and the Outlaws, A story which makes the baffling and strange decision to start only after the redemption arc has finished. Where last we saw Jason Todd, he was playing Baby's first arch nemesis to Dick Grayson's Batman, taking pot shots at Robin, threatening to expose everyone's secret identity, and just generally being a pill-shaped menace. However, then Barry Allen and his avoidance issues fuck up the universe, and all of a sudden, Jason is on a beach with Starfire, his brother's ex-fiancée, and Roy Harper, his brother's frenemy. And together, the three run amok as these good guy mercenaries, which, as a fan of The Secret Six, I'm not necessarily opposed to, but it could have been handled better. The run does play lip service to the concepts of redemption, but having removed the context of what Jason needs to seek forgiveness for, the whole thing just ends up feeling hollow, filled with empty recriminations and vacant reassurance. Those personally wronged by the actions of the Red Hood do show up in the story, but only long enough to forgive him without any real effort on his part. It's a vessel for fun and shiny eye candy, and if that's all it was, that would be fine. But the story insists repeatedly that Jason has atoned, even going so far as to literally wipe the slate clean in the form of amnesia. Not every redemption arc is earned. And there we have it, folks. You can find the full episode of Crisis of Infinite Opinions next week. Feel free to read the book, see if you can spot which of us is playing Bizarro. Give the video a like if that's what you're into. Follow the channel if you want more comic book content. And please let me know down in the comment section, do you like these stories? What is your favorite redemption? What is your least favorite redemption? What are you really looking for when a baddie turns into a goodie? Let us know down below. I've been Miranda. You can find me on Blue Sky and TikTok as Dynamighty Miranda. I repeat, Dino is in dinosaur, Mighty is in Mighty Mouse, Miranda, that's my name. Don't wear it out. I am your friendly neighborhood amateur Batman historian. And as always, please support your local comic shops. Times are hard and they're only getting harder, and we're only going to get through them together. Bye!